Have you ever seen a bird so strange, so ancient looking, it feels like it just stepped straight out of a dinosaur movie? Now picture this. Its head is massive, its beak looks like an old wooden shoe, and it can stare you down for minutes without moving a muscle, almost like it's reading your mind. This isn't some mythical creature, it's real. And it can even take down a baby crocodile in a single lightning-fast strike. Stick around until the end of this video, because this bird makes a sound that will give you chills, and you won't believe what it's for. If you love discovering the wildest, weirdest, and most fascinating animals on the planet, make sure you subscribe to Super Stubborn Animal and hit that bell icon. All right, let's meet the star of today's show, the Shoebill stork, known to science as Baleniceps rex. Even the name sounds prehistoric, and honestly, the first time you see one, you'll swear you've stumbled across a living fossil that somehow made it into our modern world. This bird is big, really big. It's one of the largest birds alive today, closely related to storks, pelicans, and marabou. But unlike its more common relatives, the shoebill is one of the most mysterious and least studied birds on Earth. They live deep in the swamps and wetlands of Central and East Africa, places so remote and hard to reach that most people will never see one in the wild. If you want to, you'd have to travel to countries like Uganda, South Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania, or Zambia. And even then, you'd need a lot of luck and their appearance. Once you see it, you'll never forget it. They've got massive bodies covered in dark gray to bluish-gray feathers, with a lighter, sometimes white, belly. Their wings are huge, stretching out to a wingspan of about 2.4 meters. That's wider than most cars. Then there are the eyes, sharp, piercing, and either yellow or pale gray-white. When a shoebill stares at you, it feels like it's looking straight into your soul. And of course, their most famous feature, the beak. That beak is enormous, up to 24 centimeters long and 12 centimeters wide. From the side, it really does look like a big wooden shoe, which is exactly how it got its name. But it's not just for show. The beak has a razor-sharp, hooked tip that works like a built-in spear, perfect for catching and killing prey. Shoebills love papyrus swamps, those calm, shallow waters packed with fish. They prefer areas where water flows slowly toward lakes. And in those quiet wetlands, they can stand completely still for hours, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They mostly hunt during the day, but on bright, moonlit nights, they'll sometimes go on stealth missions under the stars. Fish make up most of their diet, but they're not picky. They'll eat water snakes, frogs, monitor lizards, baby turtles, and yes, even baby crocodiles. Their hunting style is incredible. They use a technique called collapse hunting. They stand motionless like a statue until prey wanders within range. Then, in an instant, they lunge forward, or more like fall onto their target. Wings spread, beak first, striking with pinpoint accuracy. That hooked tip pierces through slippery fish like a spear. But as fierce as they look, their family life is just as fascinating and sometimes a little brutal. Shoebills reach adulthood at around 3 to 4 years old. Once they find a partner, they usually stay together for life. They're monogamous, sharing territory and raising chicks as a team. Out in the middle of a remote swamp, they'll build a nest, usually a big, flat platform of reeds and vegetation. The female lays 2, sometimes 3 eggs. For the next month, both parents take turns incubating them, carefully rolling the eggs with their large feet to keep them evenly warm. They're attentive parents. But here's where it turns dark. Shoebill eggs don't hatch at the same time. The first chick usually hatches a couple of days before the others, and that head start is huge. By the time the second chick hatches, the first is already stronger, hungrier, and more aggressive. The parents don't make sure food is shared equally. They feed whichever chick is closest and most demanding. What happens next is something scientists call siblicide, when one chick kills its sibling. With shoebills, the older chick will bully, peck, and push the younger one away from food until it's too weak to survive. It's harsh, but in nature it's a survival strategy. If food is scarce, the parents focus on the strongest chick to make sure at least one survives to adulthood. Think of it as an insurance policy. The extra eggs are backup in case the first fails. If a predator destroys the nest or the egg doesn't hatch, the second or third gives the parents another chance. In good years, when food is plentiful, sometimes more than one chick will survive. But in lean years, it's almost always just the firstborn. When chicks hatch, they're covered in fluffy silver-gray down. They have wide mouths, but not yet that massive beak that doesn't start to develop until about a month old. In the first weeks, the parents bring pre-mashed food to make it easy to swallow. By a month old, the adults will leave whole prey in the nest, so the chicks can practice eating on their own. It takes about 95 days for them to fully grow their feathers, and by around 125 days, they're ready to fend for themselves. From then on, they explore the swamp alone, learning to hunt with the patience and precision their species is famous for. For all their elegance and hunting skill, shoebills have a rather unusual way of keeping cool. You and I might sweat when we're hot. Dogs pant, elephants flap their ears, but shoebills, they poop on their own legs. Yes, you heard that right. Scientists call it urohydrosis, and it's actually pretty clever. When the liquid waste, a mix of urine and feces, runs down their legs, it evaporates in the heat, cooling their skin like our sweat does. As a bonus, it leaves behind a white, powdery coating that reflects sunlight, keeping their legs from overheating in the first place. Not glamorous, but it works. And there's another behavior you need to hear, literally. Most of the time, shoebills are silent, standing statue still. But when they do communicate, especially when greeting a mate or defending a nest, they unleash a sound that's been compared to a machine gun. Rapid fire clattering by slamming their huge beaks together. Imagine being a lizard or fish, hearing that echo from the shadows. You'd freeze in place. For some unlucky prey, it's the last sound they ever hear. That beak isn't just for intimidation. It's a perfectly engineered hunting tool. Long, broad, and ending in a sharp, curved hook. It's designed to grab big, slippery prey and hold it tight. Their favorite meal, lungfish, sometimes as long as your arm and just as slippery as you'd imagine. The beak comes down hard, the hook pierces the fish, and it's over in seconds. But despite their fierce appearance, shoebills aren't invincible. In fact, they're facing serious challenges in the wild. And if nothing changes, they could vanish from their natural habitats within a generation. They're picky about where they live. They need huge, untouched wetlands to breed and hunt. But those wetlands are disappearing fast, drained for farming, burned in the dry season, or taken over by human settlements. And because they're shy, if people get too close to their nests, they'll abandon them, leaving eggs and chicks vulnerable to predators like monitor lizards, snakes, and eagles. Poaching is another problem. Rarity makes them valuable. Some are captured alive for the illegal pet trade or private collections. Others are killed simply for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. In 2008, there were an estimated 5,000 to 8,000 adult shoebills in the wild. By 2016, that number had dropped to around 3,000 to 5,000. Today, the largest population is in South Sudan, about 5,000 birds, but smaller groups survive in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. But here's the good news. People are stepping up to protect them. One of the best examples comes from Bangweulu wetlands in Zambia. 6 chiefdoms, home to around 50,000 people, jointly own the land. After decades of overfishing and poaching, the wildlife there had been devastated. But in 2008, the chiefs partnered with the Zambian government and the non-profit African parks to turn things around. In 2012, they launched the Shoebill Guard program. It's exactly what it sounds like. A dedicated team of local fishermen trained to guard shoebill nests during the breeding season. From September to December, these guards watch over eggs and chicks, protecting them from predators and poachers. And it's working. Since the program started, 25 chicks have successfully fledged from 21 protected nests. Even chicks stolen and sold into captivity have been rescued and returned to the wild. These guards aren't just protecting shoebills, they're building a culture of conservation in their communities. People are realizing that protecting rare birds can also bring benefits. From ecotourism to sustainable fishing, the shoebill stork is more than a strange-looking bird. It's a living link to Earth's ancient past, a bird that looks and acts like it belongs in the age of dinosaurs, yet somehow thrives in the 21st century. Seeing one in the wild feels like stepping back in time to a world where patience and precision ruled survival. But here's the reality. If we don't protect the wetlands they rely on, these birds could vanish in our lifetime. The thought of future generations only knowing shoebills from pictures or documentaries is heartbreaking, because once you've looked into those piercing yellow eyes, once you've seen that massive beak snap shut like a prehistoric trap, you realize they're not just birds, they're icons of the wild. Every time a shoebill guard stands watch in the reeds, every time a community chooses conservation over exploitation, we move one step closer to keeping these giants part of our world. Protecting the shoebill isn't just about saving one species, it's about preserving the delicate swamp ecosystems they represent. When we fight for them, we fight for countless other creatures that share their home. So next time you think about the world's most unusual animals, remember the shoebill. Remember the bird that waits like a shadow, strikes like lightning, and echoes through the swamp with the sound of a machine gun. Remember that in a world of rapid change, some things are worth keeping exactly as they are. Wild, stubborn, and magnificent. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of nature's strangest and most fascinating birds, make sure you're subscribed to Super Stubborn Animal and turn on that notification bell. We bring you unbelievable wildlife stories from every corner of the globe. Who knows? The next animal we feature might be even weirder than the shoebill, if that's even possible.